Hello my dear friends, how are you all? I hope you all are good and fantastic. So my dear friends, you are very welcome in a lecture number 1 of statistics. Okay, so my dear friends, today we are going to discuss a very new amazing topic. Okay, so I hope you will enjoy this lecture. Okay, so my dear friends, you have to listen very carefully. Okay, so without wasting the time, let's start. Yes. So, today we are going to discuss introduction of statistics. Okay, what is statistics? Basically, my dear friends, statistics is the study of collections, analysis, interpretation, presentation, and organization of data. Okay, in this chapter, we are going to deal with the datas. Okay, yes, in other words, it is a mathematical discipline to collect, summarize data. Okay, my dear friends. So, my dear friends, in this lecture, we are going to use data to find the particular information. Whether it is mean, whether it is mode, or whether it is median. Okay, my dear friend. So there are lot of different methods to find the mean, mode, median. Okay, I hope you get this point. So my dear friends, in this chapter you will learn about how to deal with these datas. I hope my dear friend you understand these things. Okay, so my dear friends, there are two important and basic ideas involved in statistics. There are two important and basic ideas which involved in the statistics. So they are what? They are uncertainty and variations. Okay, they are what? Uncertainty and variation. The uncertainty and variations in different fields can be determined only through statistical analysis. So these ideas in different fields can be determined through only the statistical analysis. Statistical analysis means can be determined only by using the datas. Okay, and these uncertainties are basically determined by the probability. Okay, determined by what? Probability that plays an important role in statistics. Okay, my dear friend, I hope you get this point. So my dear friends, these uncertainty and variations are the basic ideas which involved in the statistics. Okay, I hope you get this point. So now my dear friends, basically in statistics we are doing the manipulation of data. I hope my dear friend you understand these things. So now let's move on. Yes, so my dear friends, let's see the statistics examples. What is? Yes, statistics example. So some of the real life examples of statistics are, let's suppose, first is to find the mean of the marks obtained by each student in the class whose strength is 50. Okay, now my dear friend, with the help of mean we can find the marks obtained by each student in the class whose strength is what? 50. So the average value, here is the statistics of the marks obtained with the help of mean. With the help of average formula we can easily find the average value of the marks obtained by each student. I hope you get this point. Okay, so the second example is, suppose you need to find how many members are employed in a city. Okay, you need to find how many members are employed in a city. Since the city is populated with 15 lakh people, hence we will take a survey here for 1000 people sample. This is what? This is the sample. So based on this data, we will create the data, which is the what? Which is the statistics. Which is the statistics. Okay, my dear friend. So this is the examples of statistics. Okay. So now let's come on basics of statistics. So my dear friends, with the help of statistics, we can find a lot of things. Okay. So basics of statistics include the measure of central tendency and the measure of dispersion. So now what is central tendency and measure of dispersion? So the central tendency are mean, median, mode. What is mean, median, mode? And dispersion comprise variance and standard deviation. Variance and standard deviation. Okay, so with the help of statistics, we find mean, median, mode, variance and standard deviation of the datas, of the what? Datas. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to learn about mean, median, mode and variance and standard deviation. Variance and standard deviation. Okay, we will see in detail mean, median, mode, variance and standard deviation in the upcoming lectures. Okay, so now here we are going to see just in short description of mean, median, mode and variance and standard deviation. So now my dear friends, in central tendency there are three terms: mean, median and mode. Okay, so what is mean? Mean is the average of the observation. Let's suppose we have a data like 2, 4, 6, 11, 13, 14. So what is the mean? So the mean is the average of this data. Okay, means if we sum this data and divide it by number of observation, means how many numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if we divide it by 6, then we get the mean of these observations. I hope my dear friends you understand these things. Okay, now if you talk about the median, what is median? Median is the central value. Median is the what? Central value when observations are arranged in the order. When observations are arranged in the order. If the observations are arranged in the ascending order or descending order, doesn't matter, but it should be in the order, then the central value is what? Is the median. Okay, my dear friends. Now let's suppose we have an observation like 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 and 7. Okay, so we have an observation like this and there are another number is 8. Okay, my dear friend. So now in this case, what is median? So now we have to find the central value. What is central value? If we observe this, here is 5 is what? 5 is the central value. So we can say that median is 5. Median is what? Yes. Median is 5. Okay. So I hope you understand what is mean and what is median. In mean, there is no need to the arrangement of the order. Okay. Yes. Now let's come on the mode. What is mode? Mode determine the most frequent observations in a data set. Means let's suppose we have a data of marks 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. So in this case, what is mode? So the mode is the most frequent observation. So what is most frequent observation? Most frequent observation, if you see that 5 is what? 5 is the most frequent observation because it comes 3 times. Because it comes 3 times. So it is what? Yes, 5 is the mode. So my dear friends, I hope you understand the basic ideas of mean, median and mode. Okay? Yes. So now let's come on the dispersion comprise. What is dispersion comprise? So in this there are two terms, variations and standard deviations. What is variance? Variance is the measure of spread out of the collection of data. It is what? It is the measurement of spread out of the collection of data. Okay. Okay. So variance is the measure of how data points differ from means. Okay, so this means to find the expected difference of deviation from actual value. Okay, my dear friend. So now, and it is represented as this symbol, or we can represent it as this symbol, or we can represent it as VAR of X. Okay, my dear friend. Now, standard deviation, it is the measure of the dispersion of data from the mean. Means the square of the standard deviation is equal to the variance. So my dear friends, in statistics, the standard deviation is a measure of amount of variation or dispersion of a set of values. Okay, it is a measure of amount of variation of the values. I hope my dear friend you understand these things. Okay, so my dear friends, let's move on and see the basic terms in the statistics. Okay, yes, first of all we come on ungrouped data. We have a data which is in ungrouped form. Okay, so ungrouped data is data in its original or raw form, random form. Okay, the observations are not classified into the groups. Okay, for example, the ages of everyone present in a classroom of kindergarten kids with the teacher is as like this: 3 3 4 3 5 4 3 3 4 3 3 3 3 4 3 and 27. So this is the data of ages of everyone present in the class with the teacher. So this is the ungrouped data. We can say that this is what? This is ungrouped data. I hope my dear friend you understand these things. What is ungrouped data? Ungrouped data are those data which is in its original row. So this data shows that there is one grown up person. There is only just one grown up person, okay, present in a class, and that is what? That is teacher. Okay, so ungrouped data is easy to work with when the data set is small. So from this data we can easily find the mean, mode, median. Okay, so now, so the difficulties comes when the group set, when the data is large. Large. This is the small data. Okay, so now let's come on the group data. In a group data, observations are organized in a group. Okay, my dear friends. For example, a class of students got different marks in school exams. The data is like this. Let's suppose this is marks interval, and this is number of students. Okay, so marks interval is as 0 to 20, 21 to 40, 41 to 60, 61 to 80, and 81 to 100. Okay, so how many students between 0 to 20 marks? There are 13 students. How many students between 21 to 40 marks? There are 9 students. And how many students between 41 to 60 marks? There are 36 students. And from 61 to 80 marks, there are 32 students. And in between 81 to 100 marks, there are only 10 students. Okay. So this data is what? This data is grouped data. Okay. This data is what? Yeah. This is a grouped data. Okay, my dear friend, this is in tabulated form. So this data shows how many students got the particular marks range. So this is what? Yes, this is a marks range. These are what? Marks range, like this and like this. Okay, so how many students got a particular marks range? Okay, so group data is easier to work when a large amount of data is present. When a large amount of data is present. Okay, my dear friends, I hope you understand these things. So I hope you understand the difference between ungrouped data and grouped data. This is a particular manner. This is the group which is in a particular manner form. Okay. So now let's move on to the next topic, which is frequency. What is frequency? Frequency is the number of times a particular observation occurs in data. Means number of times a particular observation occurs in the data. Okay, let's suppose we have a ungrouped data like this. 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, 5, 7, 7, 6, 7, 6, 8, 9. Okay, this is the data. Okay, so now my dear friends, frequency is what? Let's suppose we have the main data is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and now here we are writing frequency. Frequency. Here is number. Now frequency is what? How many numbers are repeated? Like 2 we have 2 times. So here is we can write it 2 like this. And 1 is this 3. So we have 3 2's. How many 3? So 3 are 1 and 2. Okay. How many 4? 4 are just only 1. How many 5? 5 are just again only 1. How many 6? 6 are 1 and 2. So 6 are, so there are 2 6. How many 7s? So 7 are 1, 2 and 3. So there are 3 7. So 1, 2, 3. And how many 8s? Only 1 8 and only 1 9. So this is what? This is the frequency. Okay, so frequency is the number of times a particular observation occurs in data. Okay, so my dear friends, I hope you understand these things. So now let's move on. Yes, class interval. What is class interval? So my dear friends, data can be grouped into class intervals such that all observations in that range belongs to the class. Okay, my dear friends. So if we are seeing in the group data, these are what? These are class interval. These are what? Class interval. Okay, my dear friends, I hope you get this point. So my dear friends, in class interval, we have to find class width. What is class width? So class width is upper class limit minus lower class limit. Okay, upper class limit minus lower class limit. Okay, my dear friends, what is class width? So what is upper class limit and lower class limit? So my dear friends, let's suppose we have a class interval 0 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12. Let's suppose this is a class interval. Okay, so now my dear friend, in this case upper class limit is what? It is the 4 and lower class limit is the 0. In this case upper class limit is 8 and lower class limit is 4. In this case upper class limit is 12 and lower class limit is 8. Okay, my dear friend, I hope you understand what is class width, what is class interval. Okay, so now let's move on. Yes, class marks. What is class marks? So my dear friends, class marks is defined as the mid value of each class interval, which is called class marks. Okay, so now what is class mark? Let's suppose we have an interval like same 0 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16. These are what? Class interval. So the mid value of each class interval is what? Class mark. So we can say here is class mark is equals to upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2. This is what? This is the class marks of the interval. Okay, I hope you get this point. So now my dear friends, this is enough for today and we will meet in the next lecture with the next amazing topic. So thank you very much guys for listening me and take care and goodbye.